Welcome back to my channel. I'm Heather Corinne, and today we're going to be crocheting these mini Christmas wreaths that can be used as appliques or ornaments, or as I'm going to be using them on a coffee cozy. I've been a little bit AWOL lately because, as you can see, I recently got engaged and it's been very distracting, not to mention that the holiday season is coming, but I wanted to get back on track by sharing a new pattern with you all. This video is designed as a visual tool to go along with the written pattern, which can be found on my blog post down below, as well as a printable PDF version in my Etsy shop. We're going to be using a size G or 4mm crochet hook to create these mini wreaths, worsted weight yarn, some scissors, a tapestry needle, stitch marker, and as an optional step, some super glue and a toothpick to prevent fraying ends. I've linked all these supplies down below for you, so let's get started on these mini wreaths. To begin, we're going to be creating a base circle to add our wreath to. So I'm just going to place a slip knot on my hook and I'm going to chain 10 chain stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now, making sure that the chain is not twisted, we're going to slip stitch into the first chain that we created. So I'm going to insert the hook into that first chain stitch. Well, I think I'm going to insert it into the first chain stitch. It's being a little difficult. There we go. And now I'm going to slip stitch to create this little base circle. Next, we'll chain 2 chain stitches before beginning round 1, which is going to be 15 half double crochets around this circle. So we're going to yarn over and carry this little tail with us as well. Insert the hook into the center of the ring, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops to half double crochet. So that was our first one. We're going to do 15 total. So here is 2, and I'm going to continue all the way around with these half double crochets until we have 15 total stitches. So here we are after our 15th half double crochet. We're going to slip stitch into the first half double crochet that we created. So that's at the top here. We're going to insert the hook and slip stitch to complete that circle shape and complete round 1. So we're going to chain 1 before we begin round 2, which is just going to be a single crochet in each stitch around. So that's going to be 15 single crochets. After this first single crochet, I'm going to pop in a stitch marker just so that I can clearly see when I arrive back to the beginning of this circle. I have been known in the past to continue crocheting or not count correctly, so this is always a helpful step for me to add in there. If you're enjoying this tutorial, please take a moment to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Your support allows me to continue creating free content, so I really appreciate it. Here we are on the last stitch of this round, and I can see clearly where I started so that I can slip stitch right into that stitch where I removed the stitch marker. So here is the slip stitch. Now we'll tie off with a long or medium tail depending on what we're going to be doing with this project. If we're going to be making an ornament, you might need a much shorter tail, but since I'm using mine as an applique, I need enough to stitch the wreath onto my coffee sleeve. So I'm going to pull that through, and then to clean up the edge of this circle, I'm just going to weave this top end through the other side. So I'll put it on a tapestry needle and insert the hook in the stitch to the left of where we ended, just so that this top part of our wreath looks a little bit more clean. So you see how when I pull that through, it cleans up the edge. So now we'll just set the tapestry needle aside and snip off the beginning tail that we wove around those half double crochet, and that'll complete the base of our wreath. We can now move on to adding the cute little red bow. To create the bow, we're just going to thread a tapestry needle with this red yarn. And I'm going to start by inserting the needle from the back side to the front, right to the left of the top. And then be mindful of leaving a decent length of tail in order to be able to tie a bow when we get back around to the top. Now we're going to make a little dashed pattern in every other stitch. So we're going to skip one stitch and pull the yarn through to the back side. And then we're going to skip another stitch and come back up so that it's little red dashes all the way around the wreath. Now that we've arrived back at the top, we're going to have both ends pulled through on the back side. I'm going to snip the yarn even, and then we're going to weave both of those ends to the front side in order to tie our cute little bow. So now we have both of our red ends on the front, and we can tie a traditional little bow like we would if we were tying our shoelaces. And I prefer the bow to be really small and cute, but you can have whatever shape bow you like. So I'm just going to adjust the bow to be tiny at the top of the wreath and then snip off the ends relatively close as well. This step is optional, but I chose to use a little bit of super glue to glue down the top of the bow in the back so that it can't be pulled apart, and the little ends so that they don't start fraying too badly. So I'm going to try my best to hide the super glue in between the back of the bow and the wreath just so that it can't be pulled out, because I cannot retie this bow with such short ends left. I'm just going to use this toothpick to kind of mush the super glue down in there so that I don't get it on my fingers. And then next, I'm going to super glue the two little ends of the bow so that they don't come unraveled. And it's not necessarily going to keep them stuck to the wreath, but it does help keep them in place a bit better. And here we have our finished mini Christmas wreath. There are so many ways that we could use these. I'm going to use mine as an applique and attach it to a coffee cozy by stitching that long tail through the outer edges of the wreath all the way around to secure it to my coffee sleeve. But you could also create cute little Christmas ornament gifts, or anything that you can come up with these. The possibilities are endless. I think stringing them into a garland would also be very cute. The pattern for the coffee cozy will be on my blog if you'd like to do that. Thanks so much for crocheting with me today, and I hope you enjoyed this fun little pattern and that you're getting excited for the holiday season as well. I'll see you very soon with another tutorial.